have managed to create confusion of the Janata curfew, and that is what they have been doing. One says that the curfew is on, the other one says कि कौन आपको बंद करता है देखेंगे. So I think this is what happens during such times when the problem is enormous. Businesses everywhere worldwide have suffered. Small businesses have suffered immensely. They have suffered because of supply chain issues. They have suffered because of declining sales, because of the lockdown, because of the shutdown, because businesses closing down. And the kind of problems that each one faces is extremely different. And I don't think there is a one fit solution for everyone. But none the same, the basic issue remains the same, that businesses have been hit, sales have declined, there is no cash available, you are staring at an uncertain future, and you do not know when things will really revive, when things will really open up. The rise in the corona case numbers, and then we suddenly come across newspaper reports that we have peaked out and now probably the curve will be flattened. And then suddenly after 10 days you feel that the cases are again going up. So you are staring at another lockdown or a weekend lockdown or some kind of restriction in terms of operating the business. And that is where, one feels that in the foreseeable future at least, there does not seem to be any concrete solution to how one can move ahead. And I'm sure every business owner, particularly the small business owners, they are trying to come to terms with the problem that we have on hand and trying to find out solutions that can probably take care of their businesses. When I came to know that Shri Dilip Kamdar has made a beautiful presentation on business survival ideas, the first thought that came to my mind was that, since March, everybody is talking of business survival, and there have been so many business coaches, consultants, and industry heads or business association heads who have come on board, who have come online and tried to offer solutions, survival ideas. But then what hit me, Dilip bhai, I must say, is that this gives us an opportunity to talk to a person who's in the midst of a sector, who's one of the most dominant players in a sector which has been hit the most with this pandemic. And for that, it is hit in sales, hit in cash. They don't know how things are going to look in the coming time. Just before we started this session, you were mentioning that people in March postponed their events and booked for November, December, and yet again they have come back and said that no, November, December seems too early, let's push it a little further. So, the kind of, that is what I say, that, things do not appear to be very, very crystal clear. There are no timelines that are drawn that all right, after this date we will be allowed to function. And it's such a pleasure to have Shri Dilip Kamdar to be with us and share ideas on what he has exactly done, what he is going through, what are his plans. And I'm sure there will be a learning for each business we all run. So with this, I welcome Shri Dilip Kamdar to this online session. For the benefit of all the attendees and the viewers, let me tell you, Dilip bhai has been a veteran in Ved Council. He was one of the earliest members and has spearheaded a number of initiatives within Ved. And he had, I would not say taken a back seat, but he was trying to kind of remain out of action from Ved. And somehow we have all managed to get him on board now. And Dilip bhai, I can promise you, will not let you go soon from here now. So now that you are back in action, over to Dilip bhai for his presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shiv, and good evening, friends. It's a real pleasure and privilege both to be on the Ved platform. And some of the best experiences that helped me mold, that helped me learn things very quickly were all during my time, very, very active time in Ved Council, the early days for us in Nagpur. And in fact, I am so delighted to see our founder Govind Daga logged on right there, because he has been somebody like a mentor, a great visionary whom I always used to look forward to tell where to go. And I believe this is the time when we need a lot of visionaries to take us out of the crisis that we have landed into. So what are the things that are happening? We will have to prepare, because we will have to prepare during the corona DC as well as the after corona AC. So this is something very, very different, and as Shiv rightly pointed out, nobody knows when it is going to be there, because literally speaking, it stopped the world. And I believe that these are once in a century kind of an event. If you ask historians, probably they would take you to the influenza epidemic of pandemic of early 1900th century. From then to now, it has been something that people only used to think of in a fictional novel, maybe a Robin Cook novel. Life as we know has changed forever, and this is something that we will have to accept. If somebody tells you I am going to behave exactly I used to behave in last September, maybe next September, I believe that's not right, because it's going to change and change forever. MHSD, mask, hygiene, social distancing are now part of everyone's life for foreseeable future. Nobody with certainty can tell you. People are looking forward to a milestone like a new vaccine coming in. Plenty of them, candidates in the line. Plenty of people speaking about maybe 2 months time, maybe 3 months time, maybe before the end of the year, or maybe before the end of the next year. But nobody is still certain to predict as to how those vaccines will be, because the early reports were that you would need it every year. So still early days. And then what we have is this global crisis has raised more questions than answers so far. The questions are aplenty. Means everywhere, wherever, what part of corona you look at, COVID you look at, you have only questions. And whatever answers you have are still uncertain. Because every day you would see a new press release coming in. Masks are must, masks are not must. You can get it again, you may not get it again. You need to do this, you need to do that. So in a time of uncertainty, what we need to do is look at the whole crisis as something that perhaps hides an opportunity. Because most of us look at crisis and opportunities as two opposite words. But look at what has happened. It has brought in accelerated innovations. Talk to companies that they will allow their people to work from home. And the response before COVID would have been, no way, because I will not be able to monitor them. And how quickly it has become a norm. What is happening to that is another story we'll look at in the further slides. Virtual meeting and webinars. Sitting in our home, 50 of us right now is discussing this on a web, which was there, but which was not as prevalent as it is now. Online medical care. My family doctor says it's not possible for me to come to my clinic. So better, this is my number, call me up and I would be able to help you to the greatest extent possible. Why that? A lot of hospitals are now offering you a COVID positive package, which you can be quarantined at home if you have that facility available and still be taken care of. Then future of health on your wrist. The latest development, the Apple Watch, the new version that has come in. Not only it gives all that was there in the past, but now it has got an oximeter also as a part of it. What was oximeter? No, not many of us even knew about it. And now it has become a part and parcel of the survival kit that each one of us has in a home. And this watch not only does monitor your health, but also gives you an option to be your personal trainer. You don't need to hire one. It would be your personal trainer. It would keep a watch on you and it would give you exactly how you need to exercise and what you need to do. So that's an additional benefit. And this has all happened. Why? Because of the pressures that we have. low-cost emergency ventilators. The first concern India had when we had the lockdowns and the subsequent time when Mumbai and Delhi were going beyond control was that how do we have the people who would need ventilators? And then in came the innovation, the Jugaad technology that India is so very well known about, and people used whatever they had to create low-cost emergency ventilators. 3D printed hands-free openers. So howsoever, to catch these opportunities, we as individuals and companies need to change. The most operative word throughout this entire presentation I have learned one thing very clearly now, that I need to change and change quickly. What needs to change? People need to change. The processes need to change. Even product needs to change. And the fulcrum that will drive all these three would be the customers that we have. So where do we go from here? From here, we go to the next phase. What would be the new normal? Based on whatever we have been reading about, whatever been available in the public domain, that says that the new normal would consist of, number one, 5 stages. Each one will have its own challenges for us. The first one is resolve. The next one is resilience. The third one is return. The fourth one is reimagine. And the final would be the reform. All starts with re, because it deals with VR. And that is why it has got all those re. Because everything we have been doing, we will have to relearn. And that reminds me of what Tom Peters said. Forget learning, learn forgetting. For a person of my age, it's very easy to forget things. But rest of the people, the younger people, will have to unlearn whatever they have done and relearn the new lessons that have come into beginning. Now let's look at each one of them. That if we look at the resolve, what has happened? That whatever businesses we have been, it has either slowed down, stopped, or accelerated tremendously. Now it's a whole spectrum. Slow, stop, or accelerated. And you have plenty of examples, but very few are there in the last one. Sectors like tourism, hospitality, aviation, construction have been majorly affected and may not see pre-COVID demand of operations for a couple of years. I come from hospitality sector. My company owns banquet facilities and restaurants. And look at what has been doing. The lockdown actually came into being on the 24th night or 25th early morning of March. But we were closed from 17th of March. And we continued to remain closed only except for some home delivery things from our restaurants. Almost 6 months, zero revenue, and expenses may be curtailed, but still they are on. And that has been the case with aviation, that has been the case with tourism. And these are some of the sectors which involve huge amount of capital investment. What happens to them? For them, it is a question of survival. Then sectors like healthcare, cloud kitchens, and home delivery, especially food, groceries, essentials, have seen massive demand. Obviously, the reasons are there for them to thrive. No matter what sector you are in, scale and pace and the depth your company's action will ensure its survival. What will ensure the survival would be that how do you react to all this? How do you set a target and goals for yourself? And how do you do that? The first thing that's going to be very, very important is what kind of a resilience you have. I would say strength you have, and especially strength in terms of finances, in terms of people, in terms of processes that you have. First thing that it has done is that the crisis has turned into a financial crisis for everybody. Be it a very big company to a small person who is earning day to day kind of living life on a day-to-day basis. He's worst affected. But maybe I would not be surprised that somebody who has invested 100 crore is equally affected because his scales are different. So everybody is affected. What has happened is lockdown is GDP decline and massive unemployment. Look at the figures you have. In fact, the first quarter of this year, they have now given a number which says 23.8%. And today I was reading an article which says even the second quarter is somewhere earlier predicted to be -10. Now it is almost like minus 14 to 15%. So that's another thing. Then erosion of business confidence. The business confidence seems to have gone away because of the uncertainty. That is something that we need to take care of. Short-term measures to be taken for companies' cash flow and credit worthiness are something very, very important. I believe if at any point of time your credit score was important, I think now it has become paramount. It's more important than anything else that you have. And in fact, the credit worthiness, not only with the institutions that you deal with, but within the market is also becoming very, very important. So this is something that we need to look. Long-term resilience plans needed to absorb the great shock to the economy. Less said the better, because whatever we have experienced till right now may turn out to be a small trailer of the full-length movie that will come in the time when things will start getting to new normal. So to return to the work, what we need to do is, first, we will have to optimize the human resources. Most of us has done that. And there have emerged some of the very, very classical examples where people have started realizing that though they are working at half the earlier capacity, the manpower required is maybe only 25% of what they needed. So did it mean that we are carrying much more people than what was needed? Or have we changed our behavior, our production capacity in a way which is different? So this is something that is very, very interesting to look at. We will have to look at our supply chain very closely, because many of our businesses suffered in the last 6 months because the supply chain had some of the links which were very weak. So we need to look at it very closely. This is the crux now. Use of technology to raise efficiency and control, because earlier people you start using technology, the efficiency and control would change. Similarly, technology to ensure contactless experiences, because that is the need of the hour, especially in my industry, restaurants, banquets. This is a high contact industry, and the need is that we reduce it. So we have to visit every point, and we have identified 28 points where we come in touch with people who visit us for a wedding. How many can you reduce? How well can you reduce without compromising the personal experiences that people go through? Because going to a restaurant or going for a wedding or going for a function is not only about the consumption, it is also about the experience. And if you cut down on some of this, the experience would be reduced. So you have to take this into your concern. Cutting back on some of the products and services as part of the new normal. We would have to optimize things that we are offering. We can't be too liberal with that. How do we reimagine what we need to do? We will have to first and foremost take care of expectations and demand of the consumers in the new time. And we are going to look into this in more detail. Companies that re-engineer themselves in sync with changes in demand and trends will have a better chance of all success. Look at the companies which have done very well in last few months. And the one lesson that's emerging is that they have been very quick, nimble-footed. Decision making is quick. Their adoption of the technology is very quick, and they have been able to recognize the needs of the people whom they are serving. So this is going to be very, very important. The globalization of supply chains, be at an end as nation looks to become Atmanirbhar and try to bring production and supply near the end user. Because this is going to be the norm. From the time when people used to look to globalize everything because of the cost advantages that we had, now the time, this particular pandemic has made nations more nationalist. They have started looking inwards. Their preference is that I should be able to protect me and my people rather than look at the cost advantage that I have. So this would make a lot of us who are dependent on supply chains which extend beyond the borders of the country will have to perhaps start looking at that nearer home. And then local may become more essential than global, be it buying grocery or taking vacations. Out goes the window, the vacations in maybe Maldives or maybe in Switzerland or Hawaii or whatever exotic places that may be there on your Google map. The vacations, I believe, for quite foreseeable period of time would be somewhere around where you can drive yourself. So you don't depend on what is known as a public transport or maybe the aviation. What is happened due to COVID is under reforms, rise of innovation and social experiments. A lot of things are happening. How many families used to have a family get together on a Zoom in the past? Never heard of that. Maybe I'll call one of my nieces or one of my brothers over a phone, talk to him. But now the whole family is there on a weekend talking to each other. In fact, during the first 2-3 months of the lockdown, there used to be a family playtime together when somebody used to organize a Bollywood housey or something like that. So these are the innovations. This is bringing families close together. But again, the reason is that you have now accessibility to the technology, and similarly experiences, virtual experiences. This is going to drive the market of future. Socially distanced buying behaviors. No longer you would like to go and see the product yourself, maybe product will come to you. Emergence of methods and technologies and behaviors which will ensure economic and social well-being. Because this is the corner around which everything is going to revolve. That we would have to find methods, technologies and behaviors which primarily ensures economic and social well-being. If I need to advertise for people to come to my restaurant, I'll not talk about the cuisine that I serve. That is expected that I'll serve the best cuisine. But I would have to talk about the safety of the people who visit my restaurant first. Because if they are safe, then only they would patronize me. That's the biggest change that's likely to come. Discontinuation of practices which could inhibit societal development. What's going to happen is right now there are a lot of practices which does not permit people to do some of the things. But maybe there would come a time, maybe 12 months from now, when some of these practices would have to go away. Like how do people learn best? How do students, can they learn online? I believe no. Going to the school, being there with their friends, being there in that group helps not only education in terms of the syllabus, but it also gives you a social understanding of how to be with people, how to work in a team. Can you take that away? No, I believe not. So that also has to be factored in, that in the reforms we will have to at some point of time discontinue some of the practices that are prevalent right now. I came across a very beautiful quote which says, changes that many of us predicted would happen over decades are instead taking places in the span of weeks. Like I talked to you about work from home. Was it possible people would have accepted that? No, people would have accepted it They have been talking about it. They have been using it also for at least last 3, 4, 5 years, especially in IT companies. But come COVID, and within weeks the changes that you are seeing would have otherwise taken maybe 5 years or 10 years to happen. And what are these changes? These are the changes in the new consumer. Consumer is at the focus of everything that we are talking of right now. If there is no consumer, no business can exist. So, what is the first thing about a consumer? All consumption is time and location bound. If I need something, मुझे ये यहाँ चाहिए, इस वक्त चाहिए, तो I'll need that. Maybe time may be a little bit extended, but the location I cannot change, and now especially no, because I cannot travel. So what's happening is time flexibility and location rigidity have made the consumer improvise in creative and innovative ways. देखिए the amount of innovation that is taken. I have seen people who don't understand how to hold a knife put together great meals. And what they have done is, some of them have gone to the extent of launching their own kitchen from their home, and they have become a competitor to people like us who have been doing this for last 40 years. That's a dividend of what's happening. Then work-life boundaries have blurred as people work, study, eat and relax all at home. In fact, otherwise hardly any one of you would have seen where I am sitting right now. That's my drawing room. But come COVID, and all of us have entered the places or spaces which otherwise would not have been there. Because I work here, I study here, I eat here, and I relax here. So this has changed the life beyond imagination. Since the consumer cannot go to store, the store will have to come to the consumer. This is a big reality. My restaurant cannot go there. Like for example, Bukhara, one of the top ranked restaurants at the Welcome Group Hotel in Delhi, Maurya. Bukhara is so well known, and Bukhara for the first time now has started giving their food to the people at home through Swiggy. What was the choice? Not many. So they have gone to the home of the people. And in fact, some of the hotels have done what? They have started offering the house cleaning services. They have started giving laundry services to people. And they have started sending their chefs to people's home to cook a meal of their choice. So this is what you do. If people cannot come to you, you have to go to the people. And one of the greatest example is the jewelry stores were allowed to open. And the way Tanishq has done is unbelievable. They have put together a very beautiful studio inside their store. Some of the high net worth individuals who have been their customers, for them it's a treat. They are shown the entire range of products available, and that too using some very special cameras, so you feel better than what your naked eyes would have otherwise seen inside the store. You decide everything, you buy that, and their special courier would come and deliver it to your home. Store has gone to the home. Look at the automobiles. How many of us would be willing to go to an automobile showroom to look at a new car we are buying? Look at some of the websites of the new models that are being launched. Perhaps in 10 minutes, your experience except for driving that car would be so good that you would need most of the features which would have been unknown to you had you gone to the showroom. That's the kind of things that are happening. Adoption of new technologies for work, study and consumption will modify existing consumption habits. What's going to happen is that technologies will change the habits, and some of this would be by consent, and some of this would be by compulsion. So on both the ends, the technology will have to be adopted to bring the consumer back to us. Public policy will also impact consumption habits, especially in public spaces. Look at the airports. If it used to take you 1 hour to take your domestic flight earlier, now they say go to the airport 3 hours early, because you would have to go through a process, and this process is quite cumbersome. One of my friends traveled from Amritsar to London recently, and when I asked him about his experience, he said that we were the only ones who were not in PPE. The whole crew was in PPE, and I felt as if I am in a hospital. No interaction, no food, and nothing. He says, thank God that due to the tailwind, the 9-hour flight was rescheduled for 8 hours and ended in 7 hours 15 minutes, and we were there. So these are the kind of experiences that change. But public policy will impact consumption habits, especially in public spaces. Look at the concerts, look at the exhibitions, look at the entertainment that you have. One of the biggest thing we did in way the earlier years was the exhibitions that we used to do, known as Consumer Expo. And a lot of people used to come. And one of the incidents that perhaps most of us, especially those who are founders, including Govind, Vilas Bhai and others would remember, would be the first Consumer Expo we did. And on a Sunday evening, we had more than 1 lakh people waiting to come into the space, and we suddenly realized that we will not be able to entertain them. So we had to stop people from coming there. Can we think of a gathering like this in some time of tomorrow? Certainly not for times to come. In fact, recently there was an exhibition held in Delhi which was for handicrafts. And this was a virtual exhibition. It attracted more number of people to display their product. And in fact, it did much more of a sale than the normal real exhibition would have been. Because in the virtual space, the real buyers would be there, and the interaction with the seller would be at a much better level than it would be otherwise. So see, this has its own plus, and perhaps there should be no reason why we should not accept this. Where do we go from now? The first thing that we need to do is we need to act rationally. Each one of us have been, most of the time, the people who have founded the businesses we are part of. And how do we founded it? Maybe we did bootstrapping, maybe we did a lot of work ourselves, maybe we've looked at scaling up, and now we are at a place where we are. And we are able to do all this because of critical and strategic thinking that we always used to happen. Now is the time to bring it back. Now is to climb down a level and start thinking and paying attention to everything that we do. Don't compare negatively, because this is a time when there are a lot of negative thoughts around. And the mind has a typical habit of picking up things negative very quickly. And I always compare a negative thought to a black paint. If you put even 1 drop of black paint in a white paint, it will become grey immediately. Howsoever a white paint you put in black, it will never become white. So that's a comparison. So don't go into that domain. Keep yourself away from that. And to do that, what you need to do is act operationally here and now. Let me not worry about that negative thought of 12 months from now. My space is right now. I will have to have clear plans in medium and long range, but we have to do everything that we can do here and now. Like we never used to at Naivedya, we never used to do a delivery through Zomato, not Swiggy. And immediately when the things opened up, we realized that we need to do that. We started doing it. It's teaching us a lot of lessons, because some of the product that we sell taste differently after 15 minutes, and that's the real challenge. So every time that we do something new, the challenge would always come in. Adapt. Don't cling to the past. Trust your team and yourself, and be prepared to see new opportunities while enjoying the transformation. Because whether you like it or not, transformation is a difficult process. Everybody thinks that I always have had the best of the things, best of the processes, best of the people, best of the practices. No. We'll need to taste it against the worst of the time to find the best out of it. And that perhaps would be a bit cumbersome, bit difficult. किसी को भी ये कहना कि you are not perfect is very difficult for that person to listen to. But we would have to learn to do that. So how do we survive? First thing that's very, very important, like Nagpur is going through a Janta curfew today, a lockdown. I don't know how successful it is because I have not gone out of my home. But this is a test between powers that are and powers that be, that kind of a thing. And then the only thing is, if you look at the experiences of countries in last so many months, it says that we do not need lockdowns after a certain period of time. We need behavioral changes. That's the crux. Because how long can you lock down a nation? It's so easy to put a lock, but it's so difficult to open it up, because that lock is not only that on that physical space. It is a lock on your economy that keeps you survive. So that's very important. Because look at what has happened. While Europe is back on its feet because of voluntary behavioral changes implemented by its citizens. I was talking to that friend of mine who traveled from Amritsar to London, and he said the moment he landed at Heathrow, he could see the discernible changes in people's behavior. Everybody was wearing masks, not like allowing it to hang, which a lot of people do. I do appreciate it's very difficult to keep it on. But then when you need it, you need to keep it on. Then social distancing. Nobody was crowding, because every immigration takes its own time and people always get impatient. But no, they maintained that social distancing. And hygiene, of course, goes without saying. So what is very, very important is voluntary behavioral change. That becomes very, very important. And look at what has happened. USA, Brazil and India are at the top of the pyramid right now. And the reason is because we refuse to change our behaviors. क्या होता? कुछ नहीं होता यार. मेरे को तो perfect बना है, मेरे को कुछ नहीं होने वाला. I think it's time to overcome that thing. This is a very famous quote from Stephen Covey, the well-known management author who wrote that time-defying book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in that book he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. The stimulus here has been the COVID-19 pandemic. What has been our response? Our response has been that, okay, lockdown hai, we would be in home. Okay, I cannot do this, I'll do that. But there has to be a behavioral change, that I am living in a different time right now. And that different time will need the best of the changes that I can do. This quote of Charles Darwin is so famous, and I believe the real time to look at it is now. Because it is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent, but the one most adaptable to change. That's what he said. So what do we do? Survival is not compulsory. In fact, it is not. Then it's a choice. And who exert that choice? I think that choice will have to be exerted by each one of us. Because the time that we are going through is still an evolving time. Habits are going to change. Consumer preferences are going to change. The way businesses are being done will change. But one thing which is going to remain is the lessons that we have taught is that my choices as an individual matters a lot to everybody around, because we together make the world that we live in. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind. Thank you very much and good luck. If we have any questions, I believe we can, maybe we have got some time, we can take them up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dilip sir. It was wonderful listening to you. And as you mentioned at the beginning that there are more questions in mind than answers. So I ask the audience if they have any questions to raise it directly in the chat box, or maybe we can unmute them, they can raise their hand and we can allow them to speak. Anyone? Any question?
देवेंद्र भाई समथिंग अनम्यूट कीजिए देवेंद्र भाई.
Again learning. Is it Dilip bhai? Are you fine?
Great, as good as I look on the screen.
You know, COVID has separated us.
Yes.
We could since almost 6-7 months, and the meetings have all been virtual. Earlier, last I could see you in one of the presentations. कब दिलीप भाई कब थे? शायद एग्जीक्यूटिव के पहले कुछ रखा था उसमें थे शायद.
Just I think last year.
Yeah, so Dilip bhai, it's a pleasure, and it's, as always, it's a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you.
To put it, it's a treat. And let me thank Shiv for arranging and Varun for arranging such a wonderful treat. अभी नैवेद्यम की delicacies तो नहीं मिल रही है, तो दिलीप भाई को सुनने को मिल गया, उसी में बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है.
ऑर्डर कर दो, जोमेटो पे आ जाएगी घर पे यार, क्या बात.
I remember.
I cannot allow the opportunity to market my product go waste.
नहीं, I understand, but I still remember when Habib bhai was in Nagpur, we had spent some time together. That time you had quoted कि भाई हम लोग Zomato और उस पे देते नहीं हैं. I think
So that's the first lesson we learned, that you have to keep up with the time. And like I mentioned that some of the South Indian dishes have a particular time frame. If you eat it in a restaurant, the taste would be different. Not with sambar, but definitely with dosas and idlis, and especially the 30 idli that's so well, Naivedyam is so well known for, Uttar Dakshin.
Yeah.
So these are the challenges, but we cannot sit idle. We really have to work on that. And look at the challenges we face in weddings. It's an unbelievable kind of thing, because most of the people are not able to plan what they need to do. And in fact, there is a very dangerous trend that has come, dangerous from my viewpoint, that a lot of parents are trying to do it at 50, save a lot of money. Maybe 50% of that goes in as a fixed deposit to the bride for her future. But we are deprived of the business that we had. So this is what is happening. This is societal changes that would come through. And each business will have such challenges.
Yeah, it's very rightly said. I mean, as like quoted by Prime Minister, this has to be seen as an opportunity. How best we can take the advantage of it. Like I'll just share my own example that our institute where we train the girls for skilling, that is closed since 6 months, almost from March 22nd or so, because all the girls were sent back to Gadchiroli. But the point was now how to use how to look at it as an opportunity. So we, on the Zoom, a group was formed of all the trainers. So almost since last 6 months, the trainers have been together, and it was headed by Vilas Joshi. Vilas is a consultant. So we could develop a new course and with good training material. You know, lot of around 2,500 PPTs were made.
Fantastic.
So this is just an example that how can we use the time for our own advantage. So like this individual who is here, I presume he was sharing that have been able to do it. So there are a lot of glaring examples like this.
This is how
Thank
you
you.
can put this use to good time.
Yeah, that's it. I would
Good news.
request Shiv to share on this.
Yeah. I think before we move on, there's a question from Nimesh, and I think his question is that do you believe that we will see a resurgence of drive-in, drive-by restaurants like you have the drive-in cinema which has come in at a few locations, even in Europe where you have drive-in cinema now.
In fact,
Do you think
there's a very interesting thing that has happened. See, earlier the only choice we had was to go anywhere you need to take your own car. And as the things became difficult with parking and everything, and because Uber and Ola came in, you had a choice now. You can order the cab, go into that, there is no hassle of parking. Again, when you need to come back, you had this. But then you had a very nice, beautiful, newly invested and purchased a vehicle. Now what do you do with it? And you also want to take your family with it. So you go out. And that is the reason why dhabas flourished. And one of the biggest example is that there is a dhaba 40 kilometers from Nagpur. People go there. I started studying as to why this happened. It's not only the food that people go there. They go there only because they get a 40 kilometers or very beautiful drivable 4-lane road to go on. So what will happen is some of the habits will go away, but in future, it has been a well-known fact that the habits that people forget return back as hobbies. So now I will not like to go because Netflix, Hotstar, Zee, all these OTT platforms give me enough of entertainment in the home. But then I would certainly go out once in a while so that maybe I am with a group of 5 or 10 people. So that's going to happen.
What do you think, Dilip bhai, of the marriage season? Is there? What is your view? When do you think? Do we ever see that kind of a gathering of maybe 100 people getting together? Not in the foreseeable future. But how are you going to cope up with that scene?
I have a wide range of experiences on that. I still see some very optimist people walking in saying, "मेरे को तो 1000 की शादी करना है, February की date बता दो आप." This happened a few days back, and I says 1000. I am hearing something which is very good to my ears, but I believe 100 or 200 max. Because what's going to happen is we have seen that when we were doing 50, we are allowed 50 from the last week of June.
Yes.
And even people used to give us a list of 50 and all that. Not even 50 turned up. Because everybody whom you invite is not willing to take that risk. That factor is also there. So even I believe with the size of halls we have, some of the largest in Nagpur, we would be able to do even 200, 300, up to 400 with social distancing. But I have my own doubts as to people would be willing to come or not. Where you feel, the other thing that we have observed is there are some places, some weddings where you will need to go. You will go, but you will not eat. That would happen. So this is in for a wide changes. But there is one thing which is still not changed is most of the weddings in India are Muhurat driven. We as a community of people who organize weddings, because wedding is not only one banquet which gets all the money. There are 15 other industries which are closely connected. Entertainment, bands, Safawala, the one with the horses, and event managers and things like that. So we started promoting for a good celebration. Every day is a Shubh Din. Shubh काम के लिए हर दिन शुभ है. But still very few people take it. So it's a matter of time maybe that people will do that.
Yeah. Mr. Amitabh Sinha has raised his hand. I believe he has a query, but I'm trying to unmute him. Sir, if you can unmute yourself, if you have a query.
Deven Bhai sir, pranam.
पार्किंग लॉट वाले, बग्गी, ये घोड़ी
See,
वाले,
like I told you that what we are working on right now is a absolutely skeleton stuff. Means we are not even at 10% of what our real potential is. And I will give you one example for all of you to understand. My daughter works with Hilton Doubletree in Johor Bahru. Now Johor Bahru is right next to the Singapore, like it's twin city but separated by the border. Okay, 20 minutes drive and you are into Johor Bahru. Now it's a 350 room hotel, and for 3 months they were locked down. Once they start operating, now they have almost 350 people who work in the hotel. They have been working with almost like 50 people, and now the occupancy level has reached up to 70%. Domestic tourists, some business people, and even at 70% still they are able to very well manage by almost 20% of their staff. So perhaps at some point of time the management will start looking, did we have had too many people to work for? And this is going to happen with everybody. And there is a very beautiful study which I perhaps Ved will have to look at sometime. This is a McKinsey think tank study on India in next 7 years. And it talks in terms of 90 million new jobs to be created if we need to reach 5 trillion people. And what has happened right now is that entire GDP 45% comes out of the non-organized sector, and I put myself into a non-organized sector. And this 45% also employs 90% of the people. So the unemployment is going to be the massive challenge as far as the government is going to concern. And I believe that perhaps a think tank like Ved would have to put its all wisdom together to identify the sectors which really need a push, where people can be employed, which they will get a gainful return, and where there won't be too much of a pressure. So this is going to be a real challenge. Because more you encompass the technology, more you get used to the technology, the fewer are the chances of getting more number of people on board. As simple as that. So both are contradictory. And for a country like India with such a huge population which needs jobs, it's going to be a biggest challenge.
Varun?
Yes, sir.
I don't think we have any more questions.
Yeah, no further queries in the chat box. Should we sum it up? Dilipsar, I have heard from a lot of people that you speak really well, and it was my first-hand experience today. It was so nice listening you, and we can all see the chat box flooded with praises. You should also read wonderful messages and wonderful presentation. I'm sure each one of us has attended numerous webinars during last 6 months, when the crux has always been how to survive in your business during the difficult. But those last 6 months were the time where there was no clarity about the introduction of new normal, while there were only talks about it, and it was only being anticipated. But now, with 6 months having been passed, we are now very sure that new normal will be there for sure. Everyone needs to change and adapt, as you clearly highlighted in your presentation as well. You also mentioned learn to forget, but on personal front, I'm very sure I'm not going to forget a few things you highlighted in the presentation. It was a perspective that will really help each one of us in our respective businesses. So the reform you suggested, like reading the psyche of the customer or the client, is again a very important perspective. You talked of that every company, be it big or small, have to undergo change. Clearly, there is an example of Apple, who recently announced that from 23rd of September, for the first time, they will be opening online store in India. So it clearly indicates change of business styles. So in nutshell, it was a wonderful presentation, very useful one. all the experiences that you have and the practical things you have attached to it really helped and will help each one of us in long run and in the new normal that is going to be there for sure. Thanks a lot. And it was a good decision on the part of Ved to have you again on the platform. You are a member and who can guide us really well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I think after this vote of thanks, Amitabh sir is there, wants to ask something.
Excellent presentation, Dilip bhai.
Thank you, Amitabh.
Can we get a copy of it?
Yeah, I'll mail it to you, Amitabh.
Thank you. Even a PDF would do.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
done. No issues.
We'll try and adapt some of things you said in our business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Something for everyone, for sure. Thanks again. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay.
Rajiv Sen wanted to ask a question, although the vote of thanks has been proposed. Dilip bhai, with your permission, Rajiv
Yeah,
Sen.
we can ask. No issues.
Sir, this is Rajiv Sen. Well, I am into this industry of pest control and sanitization, and probably the one who we have not got many sufferings in lockdown. But I know there is a haphazard growth that we have seen during last five months. I just wanted to understand whether this growth is really going to be a sustainable growth to help us to achieve the targets that we are going to set for the next 10 years. One. Second, this hospitality sector, which is now into a very close niche sector, and people like hotels like Marriott's and other Taj, they are also shifting the Palladium to hospital sectors now, hospitality plus hospital sector, so that even if the visitor comes and they got infected, they can be shifted into that Palladium. So how you see that whether there would be any growth in the hospitality sector, because there are some chunks of business that we also support into that industry through the disinfection and the pest control services. So how you address that issue, sir?
Rajiv, two questions. The first one, as far as I see, your industry has this is the biggest opportunity that you could have ever hoped for, because now every hospitality sector industry, maybe the manufacturing or the restaurants or the hotels or whatever it is, they would all have to put great emphasis on sanitization. And you are there, you have the experience, you have everything that needs. Now what you would need to do is ensure that the product or the services that you offer are very competitive and the best. Then there is no reason people will go away from you, because there would be more demand than number of players who have, and people have become very choosy because they have realized that cutting cost is not worth it. So maybe do it. That's going to be in great demand. As far as hospitality sector is concerned, it's still very into uncertain kind of a thing, and I believe from hospitality, a hotel to the hospital is a very different kind of a thing that it needs. Both, if it has to be right, both have to be taken up right from the design stage, because both are services based, and services required in the both sectors are absolutely different in need. So you cannot convert a hospital into a hotel into hospital. Government of Delhi tried this and finally they failed, because Supreme Court also did not agree to some extent. So that's not possible perhaps. For a small tenure, okay, like we also got people coming over to our banquet facilities and asked us, can we convert it to a COVID facility or things like that. But when we pointed out them that how do you create those services, it was very difficult. So that perhaps is not possible.
Thank you so very much, sir.
Most welcome.
Sir, with your permission, shall we sum it up?
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dilip bhai.
My
Thanks a
pleasure.
lot.
My pleasure. Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks everybody.
Thanks everyone. See you all next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
कैसा होगा?